In 2021, they finally got an answer. A brand new YouTube series called Ed China's Workshop Diaries. The first episode dropped on a Friday evening. No flashy graphics, no TV schedule, just Ed, a kettle boiling in the background, and a tired Range Rover waiting for rescue. He greeted viewers like old friends, rolled up his sleeves, and dug in. There were no rushed montages here. Every bolt came off in real time. Every worn seal got a clear close-up. It even paused to draw simple sketches on a whiteboard when a job needed extra explaining. It felt like the early days of WheelerDealers, only slower, deeper, and 100% under his control. The project soon grew wilder. One week he rebuilt a 1960s milk float and slipped in an electric motor. The next he revived the record-breaking motorized sofa that once zoomed down the streets of London. Viewers loved it. Comments filled with gratitude. I can finally see the whole job again. By the 10th upload, the channel had passed 500,000 subscribers, funded by ads, Patreon backers, and the occasional big hands. Small garage t-shirt sale. Without network orders, Ed set his own pace. Some months he posted every Friday. Other times he took a break to hunt rare parts or speak at engineering fairs. Nobody complained. They knew the next video would land when the job was truly ready. Sponsors knocked on his door, but he chose only tools he already used. If it isn't in my toolbox, it isn't in the show, he joked. Meanwhile, back on WheelerDealers, and Ansted's run ended in 2020 when he moved home to the UK for family reasons. The network tapped Mark Elvis Priestley, a former McLaren F1 mechanic, to take his place. Priestley brought sharp skills and a relaxed laugh, and the show filmed its 2021 season in a new British workshop. Ratings held steady, yet fans still compared every slow motion weld to Ed's detailed WALKTHROUGHS dot by 2024. Both paths seemed set. Ed teaching in his own time, Mike steering a lighter, faster TV machine. But whispers of a reunion kept floating through the forums. Brewer would say never. Ed would nod and smile, then change the subject. With two separate worlds thriving, only one question hung in the air. Would either man ever feel the need to bridge the gap, or were they happier driving on different roads for good? That answer has always lurked just around the next bend. By 2023, the two paths seemed set, but the internet loves a twist. Early that year, a small car blog ran one line that set fans buzzing. Sources say Ed China may guest star in a future WheelerDealers special. No names, no dates, just enough sparked to light pages of debate. Reddit threads stretched for miles. Some swore they'd spotted Ed lunching with a motor trend producer at Goodwood. Others claimed Mike and Ed were quietly planning a charity build to mark the show's 25th birthday. Neither man slammed the door. When asked during a podcast, Mike laughed, "Never say never. My phone still works." A month later, Ed did a live stream from his workshop. Someone typed, "Would you ever go back?" He paused, grinned, and said, "Only if we can show every nut and bolt." It wasn't a yes, but it wasn't a no. And that was more than enough to keep hope alive. Fresh rumors kept rolling. One story said the BBC wanted both hosts for a new EV conversion series. Another claimed Discovery had pitched a reunion road trip. 10 classic cars, 10 countries, one last handshake. Most tips fizzled out when dates slipped or budgets shrank. Yet the chatter never fully died. Meanwhile, small signs hinted the gap was closing inch by inch. At the 2024 NEC Classic Motor Show, Mike and Ed spoke on the same stage for the first time in 7 years. Different panels, same day. They shared a brief backstage hello. Reporters caught a photo of them smiling, and Twitter. exploded. A month later, Mike sent Ed a public birthday tweet. "Have a great one, mate. Hope to share a brew soon." Ed liked the post with a thumbs-up emoji. Simple gestures, but for longtime fans, they felt like fresh oil on a rusty hinge that away from the yacht. Spotlight, both men kept busy. Ed tested a hydrogen-powered taxi, hinting that alternative fuels could be his next big rabbit hole. Mike wrapped filming on the show's 20th season and teased, "the biggest profit we've ever made." Yet every interview ended with the same final question. "Will you two ever team up again?" Each man answered with a shrug and a smile, letting mystery do the heavy lifting for viewers. That open door became its own kind of fuel. As long as no one said never, the dream stayed alive. And so did the endless theories swirling through forums and comment sections. Whether a reunion happens next year, next decade, or never at all, one thing is clear. The story of Ed China and Mike Brewer isn't finished yet. It's simply idling, engine warm, waiting for the next green light. Across 20-plus years, one simple show about buying and fixing old cars managed to spotlight a debater than any engine. How much reel can you cut before the heart stops beating? When Wheeler Dealers began, every scraped knuckle and seized bolt felt honest because nothing was hiding behind slick edits or sponsored demands. Viewers learned, tried, and often failed right alongside Ed and Mike, and that made the victories. Sweeter. The split in 2017 proved that honesty comes at a price. Ed picked principle over a steady TV job, trading big ratings for full control. Mike stayed, shouldering the weight of keeping dozens of crew members employed and a global brand alive. Both choices took courage. Both choices cost them sleep. And their paths show two truths that can live side by side. Television is a team sport built on compromise, and pure craftsmanship thrives when no one is timing the cuts. What's most surprising is how the audience reacted. Instead of drifting away, fans followed both roads. Some craving quick-fire flips with Brewer, others soaking up hour-long deep dives with China. In a world flooded with content, the lesson is clear. Give people passion, and they will find you, no matter the platform. So will the famous handshake ever return? Maybe. History says money talks, but trust talks louder. If the day comes when both men feel the balance is right, screen time for every nut and bolt, respect for every budget sheet, those bright workshop lamps could click on again. Until then, two versions of the same dream roll forward. One chasing profit in prime time, the other chasing perfection one long video at a time. And that leaves the final question parked neatly on your driveway. Which path would you tune in for? Speedy flips, detailed guides, or a rare fusion of both? Because the next twist in this story might depend on what you decide to watch next. From a small London garage to studios around the world, Ed China and Mike Brewer proved dusty metal can spark big dreams. Their split showed that passion and profit don't always share the same lane, yet both roads still lead to great stories. One told in quick TV cuts, the other in long online lessons. Maybe those roads will cross again. Maybe they're happier apart. In the end, it might come down to which path fans cheer for most. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Yes, Ed turned out to not be nice. He did some very bad things. And then when he did some very bad things, it meant the Discovery Channel just didn't work. Yeah. No one saw this coming. One minute he was rolling a broken Porsche into the workshop, sleeves up and smile wide, ready to show the world how real fixes are done. The next, Ed China was gone. No goodbye on screen, no last laugh with Mike, just a sudden quiet that left millions of fans staring at their TVs and wondering, what pulled the king of big orange gloves out of Wheeler Dealers? But what really went down when the cameras stopped? Some point to a sudden money cut that sliced away the heart of the show. Others whisper about a fight, so tense you could hear wrenches drop. In the next few minutes, we'll crack open the rumors, look at the facts, and piece together the truth. Stick around, because one small missed detail might swing those workshop doors open again. Back in 2003, long before YouTube how-to clips ruled the web, two very different British guys stepped in front of the single camera and changed car TV for good. Mike Brewer was the born seller, part auction caller, part stand-up comic, sniffing out rusty deals and back-alley car lots. Ed China stood beside him, all calm and curious with bright orange gloves, ready to turn those wrecks into cars that could drive again. What made viewers lean closer wasn't just the before and after show. It was the way Ed slowed time down. He pulled off wheels, labeled bolts, and talked you through every turn of the tool in words a kid could copy on the driveway. While Mike counted costs and cracked jokes about money, Ed showed a whole generation that a stuck brake or blown engine wasn't a death sentence. It was a weekend adventure. The mix was amazing. Viewer mail poured in from Brazil to Bahrain each. Note begging for longer fixes and deeper looks. By the 5th season, the show was playing in more than 100 countries. By the 9th, they had packed the whole crew off to sunny California, chasing fresh metal and a giant U.S. audience. Suddenly, the boys were squeezing Ford Mustangs, DeLoreans, even classic Camaros into their growing collection, all while juggling tighter shoot schedules and sponsor deals that came with contract fine print they'd never faced before. For a while, everything they touched seemed to shine brighter. But the bigger the circus grew, the harder it became to keep every plate spinning. And hidden behind those wide workshop doors, the first tiny cracks were starting to show. When the team moved to California, everything grew bigger. The workshop, the bills, and the pressure. The new network Velocity wanted faster episodes, more shows in less time. Cameras rolled before sunrise. Cars had to be sold by dinner, and the only thing moving quicker than the builds was the stack of takeout boxes by the door dot. At first, it looked like a dream. The shop was huge, lifts were shiny, and muscle cars sat in every corner. There were tool chests taller than most people, and a parts budget that felt endless. But the dream came with rules. Producers paced the floor with stopwatches and script sheets. A brake job that once filled 10 screen minutes now flashed by in 30 seconds. A full engine teardown became 5 quick shots and a voiceover. Ed felt the change first. He loved teaching. Each cut felt like ripping pages from his guidebook. He asked, begged even, for more repair time. Mike tried to please both sides. He shook hands with sponsors, then checked on Ed, but the gap kept growing. They still laughed. On camera, yet between takes, the smiles were thin. Fans noticed. Online boards lit up. Why so rushed? Where's the detail? Viewers from Brazil to Birmingham missed the steps that let them fix along at home. Ratings stayed strong, but the heart of the show was drifting. Most nights Ed stayed late. He filmed extra close-ups, hoping the editor would keep them. Many never made it in. He watched whole lessons land on the cutting room floor. Pressure rose like steam in a whistling kettle. Everyone sensed it would burst soon. Then in March 2017, pressed upload on a 6-minute video that shook the whole workshop. It hit YouTube like a dropped wrench. On March 21, 2017, a 6-minute clip appeared on Ed China's channel titled, "I'm Leaving WheelerDealers." No clickbait, no jokes, just Ed in his orange gloves sitting at a plain desk, eyes locked on the lens. He spoke slowly, every word clear. The new bosses, he said, wanted to chop the repair scenes short. They called it being faster. Ed's reply was simple. A car show without real repairs isn't a car show at all. So he chose to walk, He thanked the fans, praised Mike, and even wished the network well. Yet between the polite lines, you could feel the sting when he said, "It's not the direction I can support." Viewers heard a louder message. The heart of the show was being sliced away for speed. Within an hour, the comments roared. Shares jumped. Across forums, Facebook groups, and car blogs. By lunch, the story was on auto news sites. By dinner, it was trending on Twitter. People clipped quotes, circled screenshots, and searched for hidden clues. Some cheered Ed for standing by his craft. Others asked why Mike hadn't fought harder. The view counter spun like a race needle. 1,000,000, 2, 5. Reporters called Ed and Mike for statements. The network issued a short note. The show remained strong. It sounded thin. Ed's clip ended with a tight smile. "Keep making, keep fixing, and I'll see you soon," he told the camera. He waved. The screen faded to black, and the internet poured into the silence with theories. Fans felt they knew the truth now, but shock was only the first wave. Next came the storm, and it would crash into Mike Brewer first. The backlash hit Mike Brewer like a brick through a windscreen. Within hours of Ed's video, angry posts stacked up on every platform. Some fans called Brewer a sellout, saying he let the show ditch its soul. Others fired off harsher words, dark threats that had nothing to do with rusty cars or leaking gaskets. Mike tried to calm things down, tweeting that he loved Ed like a brother and had begged the network to keep the long repair scenes. It didn't help. The flood kept rising. Soon the anger spilled into real life. Mike's inbox filled with hate mail. One message warned that someone would pay a visit to his house. Another dragged his teenage daughter into the mess. Shaken, Mike rang the police, who opened a file and told him to watch his back. He later said the strain nearly broke him. Even Ed stepped in, posting that no one should threaten Mike and asking people to chill out. But on the internet, a spark can light a wildfire, and this one was Roaring Dot sponsors got jumpy. A tire brand pulled a planned Ed spot. The network issued a longer press note saying WheelerDealers would change while staying. True to its roots, they announced a new mechanic, Ant Anstead, known for cheeky charm and fast builds. Some viewers cheered, curious to see fresh blood. Others shouted replaceable, and swore they were done with the show for good. Yet even in the noise, many fans kept one eye on Mike and one on Ed, hoping the pair might patch things up. For now, though, the split felt final. And while Mike braced for his first episode without Ed, the newcomer Ant was about to find out just how sharp the spotlight could be. When the dust settled, the cameras kept rolling, just with a new face on the tools. Ant Anstead, a former cop-turned-car builder, stepped into the workshop wearing a grin almost as wide as Ed's reach. He was quick with a joke, and even quicker with an impact wrench. The network hoped his energy would win back hearts. The first episode with Ant opened on a bright blue Mustang. He cracked it apart, swapped a gearbox in record time, and sprayed paint like he was icing a cake. Viewers who craved pure action loved it. But the old guard, the fans who took notes, hit pause and frowned. Where's the slow walkthrough? They asked in comments. How did he line up that clutch? Step-by-step teaching was still trimmed, and no fresh charm could hide the missing pages. Ant tried to bridge the gap. Between takes, he filmed extra side clips, breaking down tricky jobs, then pushed to sneak them online. A few made YouTube. Most stayed on a hard drive. Ratings stayed steady, but the fan base split in two. Those happy with fast thrills and those who still felt the show's pulse had skipped. Mike did his best to steer the new duo. He talked up Ant's skills, teased bigger builds, and promised more depth next time. Yet every social post carried the same shadow. Bring back Ed. and joked that he was the most loved and hated mechanic on TV. Off camera, the pressure weighed. Like a V8 block on a folding bench. Still, cars rolled in and cars rolled out. A 240Z, a dusty Ferrari, even a military Humvee, all flipped for profit on screen. The numbers proved the show could survive. But could it ever feel the same? While Brewer and Anstead chased the next deal, Ed slipped off the radar and into a quiet workshop on the edge of the English countryside. For 4 years, the tall man in orange gloves stayed mostly silent, popping up only at car shows and charity runs. Fans kept asking, where did he go?